Welcome, everybody, to the third day of Demystifying Halloween. And we started off with ghosts and spirits on day one. Second day was Wicca, witches. And then today, the third day, is about society's point of view and really demystifying some of the definitions and words. The words and getting the definitions so that we can just understand them, have a clear understanding, basically demystifying. And I just personally think that many that call the unknown, like they call it evil, the unknown. And so I feel like the more you know, the more you can then discern for yourself. So welcome back, everybody. How it's already hump day. It's like, what? 3 days went by really fast. Let's see. Oh, guys, I looked it up and it was witch, same thing for male as well. So,
yes.
All right. So, we're going to start off with kind of divination of what these words actually mean, but break it down even further. So, let's start off with divine. It's an adjective, it's of, from, or like God. Or a god. To divine, the verb is to discover by intuition or insight. So, that kind of, all of these words kind of brought me back to what you were saying, RL, yesterday, how it's okay to do it, within the church, but then outside of it, then it's not okay, right? But it's like, if you look at these words, right? What is the difference? Divination, the art or practice that seeks to foresee or foretell future events or discover hidden knowledge, usually by the interpretation of omens or by the aid of supernatural powers. Weathermen, weather people, I don't know. Don't they foresee the future of weather and, what's going to happen? Yeah. Unusual insight, intuitive perception. So obviously we talk a lot here about intuition, strengthening our intuition. It is our guide, our GPS towards whether we're aligned or not aligned. So it's all about, and I'm going to get there. I'm not trying not to go to the end. Oh my God, I do that so much. Cause when you know the whole thing and you're like, let me just tell it to you. But then you're like, that's at the end. Okay. Okay. Prophecy inspired by supernatural meaning again, your intuition, because it's coming from, when they say supernatural, it's again the unknown, but it's the non-physical. And so when we look at what is coming from the non-physical, those are thoughts, those are ideas, those are all the clairs, we hear, we feel, we see, things that we can just receive from the non-physical to the physical. To prophecy, to foretell or predict, to indicate beforehand, to declare or foretell by or as if by divine inspiration. How many of us foretell what's, the seasons, our day? What is our day going to look like? What do we put intentions in for our day, right? And that's all beforehand, right? To declare by or as if by divine inspiration. We get inspired to do things. We get ideas from the non-physical, creative idea that inspires you to do something that leads you towards taking action, which then creates a manifestation, which we'll get to. Channeling, consult or be filled with God or light. God is light. And allowing to speak through you. So your higher self, your higher power, anything higher, you don't necessarily want lower power entities or beings to channel through. And that's where meditation is key, because you need to practice discernment. You need to understand the difference between your ego and the difference between your higher self, because once you can understand that about yourself, you can see it within everything else. And that's why meditation is so important. And then let's look at these words. And then RL, I know you got some words up there too. Magic, the drawing down of energy from another realm and using that energy to create and shape that desired result. Again, the other realm, the non-physical. Gathering energy. What are we? We are energy. We are frequency. Using that energy, that information to shape the desires of what we want. So anything that we want in our lives first comes as an idea from another realm, and we shape that into what we want as a result. Period. We all do that. And that is manifestation. We are manifesting. And then speaking of magic, we want to look at the noun of magi, because, you know, who were the three kings that visited or found Jesus was the magi, right? So the magi means skilled magicians, astrologers, from Latin magi, plural magos, magician, learned magician, from Greek magos. So this is all stemming from magnetism and the control over our own electromagnetic fields. Again, if you are understanding yourself, you can then understand everything else, because we're all fractal beings of the same thing. So it's all about that magnetism that we have, which is really there by being still. The electric part is when we're not, the magnetic part is when we are. So we are all magicians, period. Okay. Spells. Spells are simply actions and words that make magic. Hi. We are all casting spells. We are all basically, don't laugh, Michelle. We are casting spells because we are spelling. Our words are powerful. What we say and speak and put into existence becomes. So therefore, whatever we say and we put intent to is basically casting spells. Whatever you want to call it, if you're a human and you're spelling and you're using your words, you are casting a spell. Rituals, any routinely repeated action. How many of you have a routine every day and grab your keys and put them in the same place and grab your drink and drink it and do the same thing every day? It's a routine. It's become a ritual for you, right? And how many rituals do we see in religions? How many rituals do we see in systems? How many rituals? I mean, it's just a thing of like, we continue to routinely repeat an action, period. Occult. Now, this word was used on the first day, but we're going to go over it. It's an adjective, secret, not divulged, from the French occulte, and directly from Latin occultus, meaning hidden, concealed, a secret. And I know I'm going to let you guys talk. Hold on. I want to just say this one scripture, because you guys, people are probably confused. They're like, I thought this girl's all about the Bible, but then she sounds like a witch and she is into all this stuff. And no, it's a blend. It's all, there's no separation. If you feel like there's a separation, there's separation within you, and you need to see what that is, because everything is one. It's just that society has divided us and put separation and put labels and put things to divide us. We are all human beings. We're all human beings. We're all spiritual beings. So I just wanted to read this one scripture and then whatever. The veil. Okay. And we've said this before, but I just want to read it. And this is having to do with Moses, but this is pretty much about everything. And not as Moses, which put a veil over his face, that the children of Israel could not steadfastly look to the end of that which is abolished. All right. But their minds were blinded, for until this day remaineth the same veil untaken away in the reading of the Old Testament, which veil is done away in Christ. Actually, I'll go over it when I'm done. But even unto this day, when Moses is read, the veil is upon their heart. Nevertheless, when it shall turn to the Lord, the veil shall be taken away. Now the Lord is that Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. So to basically summarize it, there has been a veil there's been layers put in to this, to everything, so that the occult, the hidden information is not going into the wrong hands, because it can go into the hands for power and control and for evil, or it can go into becoming better and for the better. So it has to be done in layers like this. It has to be done in a hidden way. And so this veil, it's basically telling you, look, it's there. Everyone is blinded. And even until this day, when they read this stuff, it's still there. And the only way that it's going to be able to come away is through Christ, not the Jesus Christ that everybody talks about, type of like this being, right? But now that the Lord is that spirit, and where the spirit of the Lord is, there's liberty. Christ represents spirit. We are spiritual beings. We have spirit. Therefore, that is what it's talking about. When you go inwardly and you reach the point of connecting to your spirit, aka Christ, then you are able to remove that veil, because you're able to discern, you're able to be washed with truth and wisdom and understanding. And then you're able to read the stuff and see it for what it really is, and not the way that it's always been taken. So that's just there for, the occult reasons, for the hidden. There is a purpose for it. There's good and there's evil. So we have to be very careful about mystic, important information, period. So what else do you guys have for point of views and everything that you wanted to say yesterday? RL was like, that's tomorrow. Wanna bring any of that up?
I don't know if I remember what I wanted to say yesterday. It'll come back to me once we start
about some of the words. Okay, Nicole.
But I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, Nicole.
Yeah.
No, she just looked like she was going to say something.
No.
But she's good. So RL, you got it.
Okay, so the thing that comes to mind, when I see a lot of these words, specifically like channeling, and I'm gonna go Jordan Maxwell on you guys, but I just think of, and you had the word rituals on there too, like people hear those words and they automatically think something negative, something bad, something evil, when we do these things on a daily basis, every day. And like I said, take it Jordan Maxwell. I mean, look at what we watch on television, right? Think of the word that, tell-a-vision, right? And if you go all the way back to the witches or mystics of those days that conjured up energy and put spells, they used a staff or a wand, and that was made out of Hollywood. And what do we watch every day? Hollywood, right? And what do we watch it on? We watch it on a television, and they're on channels, and they have different programs. I mean, look at these words that are being thrown out because we sit in front of a TV and we are programmed and indoctrinated and conditioned and brainwashed, and all these spells that are being casted upon
government,
us through
governed mind.
Right, exactly. So like if you start to understand that, you really start to see where a lot of this stuff comes from. And it's just, they have to put these things in place to make you feel like channeling and rituals and occult and all these things are bad when you're doing it every day.
Well, RL, when you're at Mass at a Catholic church, I grew up Catholic, you're at Mass, the whole Mass is a ritual. You bow,
sacrament.
You genuflect, you kneel, you come up. They're all recreating the Last Supper in the liturgy of the Eucharist and everything. So it's within religion that they perform rituals too. So for them to say, oh, it's wrong, it's bad, you can't do it, when it is just a routine of what you do.
So every Sunday that you go to church, if you go to church on Sunday, or if you go on Wednesday, Thursday, whatever day you go, if you go all the days, I mean, those are rituals. Yeah, I mean, the congregation is basically a bunch of people coming together to focus in, hone in on one thing. And the prayers that you do, the songs that you sing, those are all rituals. So it's the same thing, same shit, different laxative. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, yes.
Sorry for the visual, but just is what it is. And then you think, okay, you think about stuff like, what's the biggest ritual tradition that we do? We watch the Super Bowl. Over 208 million people watched the Super Bowl last year, all at the same time, all watching the same TV, all absorbing the same commercials and content, all at the same time. Like, that has power. Just like if, we get 1 million people to all meditate at the same time, like, that has power. It's the same thing.
It's all energy.
Mhm.
Michelle, you had sent me that stuff and I took a screenshot of it, and I wanted to kind of touch base on this real quick, about seeking wisdom from only God, right? The divination in any matter is sin, and corrupt seeking of spiritual knowledge. But it's like spiritual stuff, like they still have spiritual stuff, but yet you're not supposed to know spiritual knowledge, even though the book says this is of the spirit, not of the letter.
Correct.
So it says the practicing of divination will deceive you and separate you from the wisdom of God. Now, let me continue. Christians should avoid all endeavors related to divination, including fortune telling, astrology, witchcraft, tarot cards, and spelling casting, right? The spirit realm is real, but is not harmless. As taught by scripture, spirits that are not the Holy Spirit or angelic beings are malevolent spirits. Okay. Christians need not dread the spirits connected to divination, neither are Christians to inquire knowledge from them. True benevolent wisdom comes from God, as said in James 1:5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him. Okay, so you can take that in so many ways, right? Because there's always layers to it. But to me, that's showing that, there's people that have no idea of who they are, of their connection to God, of their power, of their Wi-Fi. They haven't awakened yet to their spiritual beingness, right? To know that there's more than just the body, right? And so if they go and try to practice all this stuff, they're going to seek outside of themselves and not really through God. But those that go through God, as in they go through themselves because God is within you, well, then it's different now, because you're still receiving those same messages. You're still receiving all that stuff, but you're doing it through God, which is saying if you ask through God, God will give it to you. Okay, well, we kind of all do that. Like we do that. That's what we're doing. So it's kind of misleading the way that it's put and the way that it's read and the way that they interpret it, because of course those are also interpretations. But that also, I can see it as somebody who's basically a shell, like an empty shell, as in they haven't awakened to who they are and the God within them. So they're really looking outwardly for something other than God, when it should come from within.
Yes.
And then
That is
people say, well, your interpretations shouldn't be of yours. You shouldn't have your own interpretations. But then again, Proverbs 1:2 or something says to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. You have to interpret that.
Whoever says you shouldn't have an interpretation is full of shit, because the entire book is written by man, so it's all an interpretation. So,
and there's thousands of them. So,
and anybody wants to challenge me on that, y'all know where to find me. But I only got a few more minutes on here, so I kind of remember what I want to talk about yesterday, and it was
perfect.
This whole thing's about society and how they view everything we've been talking about. And if you look at the horror genre in when we talk about movies, they have put this perception on witches and witchcraft and all these different, what they would consider taboo things, to and attach fear to them. Like, and that has literally brainwashed and indoctrinated the minds of so many, because when they think, when you watch The Omen, or if you watch Witchboard, or any The Conjuring, any of these movies, you know, they make mediums look like bad people. They make any obviously witches look like bad people. They make anything outside of Christianity look bad, and add these extra artificial things to them, you know, like, not saying that people can't be possessed, but the way they show somebody possessed, because there's a thin line between possession and channeling. You know what I'm saying? If you really break it down. But they, you know, they make The Exorcist to make it look like it's, oh my God, you know, like this is the scariest thing in the world. So then people who grow up watching these movies, because all teenagers and all kids are excited about watching scary movies, that just gets indoctrinated into them, and then they grow up and they think those things are bad and taboo. I need to stay down the Christian path in order to live a good quality life.
And here's where, you know, you can't argue with them, because whatever you believe, you can create. And so because they believe it, they kind of like attract it in a sense, or they create it based on their, you know, perception, because we are creative beings and we can just create anything really. So they perceive all these things based on their beliefs. And that's why I said it's not until you remove these layers of fear that you then see things and attract things totally different. So it's all in the mind. And you said something about society indoctrinating. I mean, like we're constantly all the time being indoctrinated with that. Oh, yeah. And also looking crazy. For example, even just as simple as like on Friends, right? Phoebe, the one that's more spiritual, is looked at as the crazy one, and everybody laughs every time she talks. I'm like, she's my favorite. What do you mean? She's so happy. You know, she's like, oh. But even in just the norm of that, you can hear the programming with the laughter in the background, and you know, all that stuff.
Yep.
Totally crazy.
Yeah, but that's all by design.
Colors. Orange and black have
I
long.
have to drop off, everybody.
No problem. Thank you for being here.
For sure.
Thank you, RL.
Bye.
Go Yankees.
Orange and black have long been the traditional colors of Halloween. Purple signifies witchcraft and mysticism, because, you know, crown chakra, which is the highest frequency in the electromagnetic frequency spectrum, right? Green is symbolic of monsters, and white is the color for ghosts and mummies. And, you know, I think it's green monsters because it's the heart chakra being in grief.
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it.
Like a blocked heart chakra, it produces monsters.
Yes.
And then they make them green. I mean, to me, that makes perfect sense.
Totally. Tony is in the house.
Because every color is attached to something. What's up, Tanya?
I missed the whole thing.
I know, it's okay. But you can watch the replay.
Yes, sure.
We just pretty much went over these. You'll see these words. The veil, which you know of from Moses and stuff. I read that. And then the different colors that we just went through, as far as the colors of Halloween. And then RL talked about, you know, the point of view of society and the programming and things like that. What's your take on Halloween now that you're here? To wrap it up, since we are like kind of finishing off the entire Halloween, and we've done ghosts, we've done witches, we've done points of view. Anything anybody wants to bring up about Halloween that we can talk about? Or experiences of Halloween, or why it's turned into a time to get slutty. Like, why? I mean, I get it. I've done it too. I mean, but I think that's the programming. You know what I mean?
Well,
like we've been programmed.
you have these costumes, and it's
Can't
like,
even
oh,
find
I wanna
regular
look like
costumes. Right. It's like, can I get the body that's that, or is it just the costume? Because I,
exactly. It's so funny because I remember I have so many friends that go to costume parties, and I've never like dressed up and gone to a costume party or anything, but we would have a block party every Halloween, and we do like a chili cook-off. Basically, everybody would kind of do, it was a block potluck where we gather and eat together. People would dress up. I never would until last year. It was the first year that I actually dressed up. But I think that part of it, if you want to dress up and almost like become this other person, have this other persona, you know, that's your time to do it if you want. And I think that's fun for people. And I think that's so cool. The scary costumes and stuff are crazy, but I view Halloween totally different now. And it's more of like just celebrating the season, the whole
right.
fall season, not so much that specific, like, oh, go trick-or-treating and this and that. I do still have stuff so when people come, because I don't want to ever like be the house that, oh, it's all dark and gloomy there and they're not passing something out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
But
my house.
because
It's become that. It used to be really awesome, and now it's just become like the dark house. But yeah, I need to figure out a new way to like change the way we do it. You know what I mean? Because
yeah, something that speaks more to your heart.
I'm going to
'Cause it is
give little, I'm going to do little scrolls of truth, and I'm going to wrap them up,
different. I love
and
it.
I'm just going to pass it around to the kids so they can scroll and see and read the truth. Oh, that would be
I
awesome.
can give each child a small crystal. They're gonna be like, what is this?
What is that?
No, they may think it's a candy or rock candy. That would not be good.
No. But yeah, I think we should turn it into whatever feels good for us, right? I mean, traditionally, it's always been whatever society says, but you are your own society. And I think that you can do it however you want to. I mean, you can start something new in your neighborhood, you know, that's different. I don't know, but ripple effects.
For sure. It was interesting because we used to do the Disneyland. Disneyland would have a Halloween nights,
Mhm.
and you pay, and then you go to the park and you get a bag and you go to these stations to trick or treat, right?
Yeah.
So it's a safe space, and they're giving out like the good candy. Like, I mean, when I say good candy, you know, it's wrapped, it's going to be safe for your children to eat, right? But they also had healthy treats if you weren't wanting candy. They also gave
Nice.
apple slices and carrots, the little bags of carrots. So
Mhm.
that was cool because it was an option. So I mean, of course, the kids, the little ones, they may think, oh gosh, I want all the candy, but I mean, you can have the choice. So if your child just knows fruits and vegetables, at least there was that choice there. So I think that's kind of cool too. And
What
in
do
the
you-
sense that there was an option.
Right. Nicole?
Yeah, so I think, I don't know if I read this somewhere, or maybe I'm making up, I don't know. I think way back when everybody believed, right, that the veil was thinner from the 31st to the 1st. And so because people were afraid of a spirit that might come through, they actually put on a costume so that spirit couldn't recognize them. But then Hallmark got a hold of it, right? And then all of a sudden it's about dressing up and eating candy. So it's evolved over time. And I'm pretty sure I read that. And that's what I'm thinking about with how it used to be and how it is now.
As soon as corporations get a hold of holidays, it's never about the same thing anymore. You know, it's
Right.
like it gets completely changed.
Just like we were talking about how Coca-Cola changed the whole vibe of Santa Claus.
Yeah.
The whole look of Santa.
And think about it. So like we have haunted houses, we have mazes, right? And everybody loves them. I love them. but it's like we love them and we have this fear of them at the same time. So we like love this fear, or like we love getting scared. That's why we watch scary movies. There's a part of us that is like attracted to that dark side, right? And it's like a way to like let it out in a way. Like I see it as like I mentioned the other day with the tire being flat. It's like a way for it to leak out a little bit. Like, okay, I have some darkness, but you know, I don't want to look at it because most people don't want to do shadow work or look at their own darkness, as in like their own blockages and things that they've thought, etc., or felt and suppressed. And so instead, they use Halloween as a way to kind of let it out, kind of stand in that darkness. But then the rest of the year, it's like back to normal. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think because of what Halloween represents now, it's almost like people maybe, I don't want to say the word practice, but maybe they look into it a little bit deeper for this month, but then the rest of the year they go back to normal almost. And they use it as an excuse. Well, it's Halloween, so I can do this, I can do this, I can watch this, I can act differently. And then the rest of the year, I mean, it's almost like, and Joanna, don't take this personally, like people who just go to church on Christmas. You know,
Why would I take it personally?
well, I don't know, because I know you're
No. And that's why I
Okay.
said people don't understand me, because I'm a metaphysical minister and like doctor of metaphysics, but
okay.
I don't go to church. I don't follow religion at all. I help people understand the metaphysical meanings behind all of that, because religion has taken it and changed it around. So
Okay.
I actually teach about how Christmas and all of that doesn't really mean what it really means. And actually, we have a whole workshop if you want to look at it. I think we're going to do it again in December, or do the watch party, but it is in the QE Academy if you want to watch it. But
Okay.
it demystifies Christmas as well. And it's that same type of thing that you're saying. Like, yeah, because, oh, it's Christmas time, so we get to be like this, like this, like this, or just I go to church and so it's like this, like this, like this. But then outside of it is totally different.
Right. It's it seems a little hypocritical to me, right? The people who want to be, seem to be very religious, yet they don't practice what they preach. And like I said, go to church only once a year, and that they think that they're such good Christians, but it's only for a week in December that they act like that.
Right. And traditions and all that. You would love the workshop just because we talk a lot about all of that stuff, but
Okay.
it's
I
in
will
there.
check it out.
And I didn't mean to like break it down, but I had to like make it clear so that, because I don't get offended much at all. Like you would have to try really hard. But just to clear it up so that you know where I stand, because a lot
No,
of people
that's-
don't know. So
Well, I know some scriptures because of my Catholic upbringing, but I don't think I have the knowledge that you do.
Right. But that's it just came to me when
Yeah.
I did all my research and I did all my studying and I started and I became this, but I didn't grow up knowing any of that stuff. So that's why now I have, because I live in the Bible Belt in North Carolina, I came across people that were just saying nothing but scriptures to me. And because I understood it spiritually and I understood the metaphysics behind it, I was like, oh, no. I'm going to have to learn their language so that I can speak their language, but break down what it truly means. So
Right.
I speak the language, but I'm not of that.
You're not in an
tribe.
organization.
Right. Thank you.
No.
What
Yeah.
is the word?
Well,
I get it now.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because like when you were talking about like Halloween and only taking that time at that time to like dress up and wear the masks and what have you, it's kind of like at Christmas time in the sense that like That's when everybody's going out to buy gifts for people. Why is it just at Christmas time? Why can't you just enjoy giving a gift? And it doesn't have to be something that's like so extreme, like a big wheel or a bike or something like that. Why can't you just give little treats all along, just something from your heart? You know what I mean? So it's the same type of thing. So I feel like we all just need to kind of balance everything out.
And look at all these holidays. And that's why we kind of do this and we break down these holidays, because what are we really celebrating, right? What is the tradition? Where is it coming from? Why has society turned it into what it is? What should it really be, etc. So this is why demystifying Halloween, breaking down the hidden meanings of Christmas, that we have the workshop there. It's free for anybody who's interested in the QE Academy. All these things are there so that it can help us understand ourselves better and therefore help understand everybody else better. If you understand yourself, you understand, okay, where everybody's at, and then therefore it's easier to communicate. It's easier to get along. Really, we're just trying to get along. You know what I mean? Yes, gets people out of the comfort zone, Larry said.
Yes, and like we talk about that all the time. So I feel like when, you know, how you were talking about scary movies and what have you, it's that unknown, and it's like, oh well, we're in this group where we can watch something scary around other people, so it gets us out of our comfort zone, out of that fear. But then you're in fear, right? It's
Yes.
like let's just get out of our comfort zones in general.
Yeah, right. It's like a little teaser. So we're going to use that as a teaser to say, hey, do this all the time. And really just whatever it is that you fear that is unknown, just get to know it. Get to know it a little better. If you're totally in fear, then fine, don't. But sometimes the best thing is right out in the other side of fear. You know, we sometimes fear, I feared speaking, and now on the other side of speaking is me sharing all this information with others and causing ripple effects, right? So I had to get over that. So we have to get over our fears in order to get to where we really want to go. And baby steps, right? I say that all the time, baby steps. So anyways, to end it off, not only do I hope you enjoy Halloween, but also we want you to get on the VIP list for our spooky deal launching on November 1st. November 1st is our 1-year anniversary for the QE Academy. Yeah, I'm so excited. So we have a cool deal that we have a link that Kiara is going to put on the Zoom link, and I'll put it on the workshop as well. So yeah, check out the link so that you can just basically be one of the first to get the info when it comes out. And that's it, guys. So anybody have any last words?
Thank you. Always. Thank you for always clearing our minds and speak the truth. Speak the truth.
Mm-hmm. Look, Dia de los Muertos, you know, in Spanish, they're honoring the dead. They're honoring the spirits. So,
And there's a movie on that you know of, Joanna.
As well, yeah. So anyway, I hope that this whole season you just start looking at everything totally different, with a different perspective. That's the whole reason I do these things. Is just, hey, there's a different point of view other than what you've always seen. And when you see different points of views, it just helps you expand your own consciousness. And that's what it's all about. To help you grow, to help you love your life, so that you can end up creating a life that you love, because we are creators and manifestors of our own reality. Ta-da! Thank you, guys. And we will see you next time. Next week, we have Keith going on the root chakra, and he's going to be talking about the self-salts of Libra. So that's pretty cool. And how do you get out of here? I'm trying to get out, guys. Sorry. And we are out.